Vegas Power Girl. And the very gonna kick you. Are there any kids in here? Yeah, there are.
Oh, yeah. PG filter just went on. PG filter. Okay.
And one of our fantastic assassins, Vampy Bit Me. I'm good, Fred.
Bye-bye.
So Shaggy was a hey.
What'd you be filming this song?
So this is Cosplay 101, and with this particular panel, we want to be able to answer any questions that you have. You know, if you're starting, if you're wanting to get started in cosplay, don't know where to begin. You know, have any kind of questions. We definitely want to open it up to you guys. And also, we want to relay our experiences as far as how we got started. That way, you can get an idea of, you know, you can be on the same ground as us and know that we go through the same stuff that you guys go through and whatnot, and have the same fears that a lot of you guys did as well. So, going with that, Vampy, how did you get started in cosplay?
Like actual cosplay? Well, my mom taught me how to sew when I was about 4 or 5. We had 6 sewing machines in the house, and she pretty much was like making a slave. No, I'm just kidding. No, but she introduced like hand sewing to me really young, and then I guess my first real cosplay was at 12. I did Earthbound cosplay, and it was from I guess closet cosplay. So I just picked up whatever I had in my closet, and I put it together, and I was like, okay, this is my costume for Halloween. So I guess that's my first cosplay. But then actually really getting into cosplay, like I think it was 2007 at Anime Expo. And that's when I made a Final Fantasy character. And then I did some Silent Hill stuff. And I guess like all my life really, I don't know. But yeah, that's how I started. My mom, blame my mom.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. My turn? No. So I guess going off of that, I have always been a costume wearer. Any excuse to wear a costume, I was like, I'm there. Dressing up, like dressing fancy, going out, or wearing costumes. And I've got a theater background too, so that really helped. I pretty much had to teach myself how to sew. It's still, to this day, it's a learning process for me, so I'm figuring it out. I'm like, I gotta do this with my shirt. I don't know, I mean, I've been dressing up my whole life too, but I think really starting cosplaying, it was San Diego Comic-Con 2008. And I started with Power Girl, and I just love her. Love Power Girl. Stick with what you got, right?
My first cosplay, I guess we could go back to high school since we're going
I
back
guess
to like
we're going
originals. Mine would be Shadowcat from X-Men Evolution. I chose that version because I really loved X-Men Evolution in high school. And it went horribly. I bought a bodysuit and I couldn't figure out how to sew the triangle unitards. And my mom had to find one of her friends like the night before Halloween and I'm in tears. Can you sew this for her? And she's like, oh yeah, done. Who's that easy? I had no idea. And then fast forward to Comic-Con 2007, that's when I actually started making my own costumes. I made Snow White, Sailor Mars, and the Cheshire Cat. And it's been crazy fun ever since.
My first time doing cosplay was San Diego 2012, San Diego Comic-Con 2012, and it was the, okay, this is going to sound kind of like a subject, I cosplayed a character, cosplaying a character, cosplaying a character, I think. It gets a little confusing. It was a red shirt, but it was Frank Cho's Brandy from Liberty Meadows dressed as a red shirt, so I asked to cosplay Brandy as a red shirt. Which was a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun doing that. I had no sewing experience. I went and I got a sewing machine and just kind of trial and error. I didn't want to read the manual. I didn't like following the manual. So it's like, oh, okay, that didn't work. Oh, what is this going to do? That didn't work. Oh, okay, that worked. So seriously, just trial and error and winging it. And
There's a lot of that still goes on.
Yeah. I tried reading the manual, it didn't help me. Don't bother.
I've been doing it ever since. I I make the majority of my costumes, there's some pieces that I do commission. But overall, anything fabric based I usually do. And it's a lot of fun, you know, definitely just go with it, you'll enjoy it. Now, as far as any kind of costuming materials that you guys like and dislike working with. Oh, I see Vampy's Can you tell us about those materials?
I think we all,
Yeah, you probably all have the same ones.
I mean, like, raise your hands, I guess, like, how many people cosplay here? And I see yes, good. And who wants to? Who wants, yay, that's awesome, yes. It's kind of scary at first, I would say, but then YouTube is amazing, because I still get taught by YouTube, and there's so many amazing, like, women and men that teach on YouTube now, that I actually learned a lot of armor making myself. But are we naming our gripes first?
Yeah, what's your favorite of your group?
Okay, well, I have to say I love Worbla and I also hate Worbla. The reason why it's expensive,
Well, actually, what is Warbler?
Worbla is, do you guys want to explain it? It's like,
I
isn't
can
it?
explain it.
Yes, what is it?
Worbla is a thermoplastic, which can be heated with a heat gun or a hairdryer. Heat gun is a little faster, but hairdryer is a little safer. So thermoplastics, much like Wonderflex, Worbla, even Styrene and Syndra, could fit into that category, but those you definitely need to use a heat gun for. You cannot use a hairdryer. Well, you could try. But yeah, so that's what, it's a thermoplastic.
Isn't it made out of like wood? Something
Oh,
wood,
I don't know.
wood shavings?
It's got-
It looks like it.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
not
it's
sure
made
about
out of
that. I'll have to ask
the
some
thing
props
about
guys for that.
That material it's really popular now in cosplay. I just think that it's number one, expensive. Number two, it's very bumpy. So it's not right off the bat like Sintra, for example, where you can just bend it with a heat gun and it's smooth already. It's kind of like really bumpy and
This is a grainy texture.
it's very grainy
It's
and
a lot of work.
a lot of work just to get it smooth. So I would suggest using possibly something a little bit cheaper, even foam, and covering that with Bondo even. And Bondo,
I got horror stories about that.
Yeah,
cannot recommend
I do love Bondo now, and epoxy. Have you guys heard of epoxy? Magic Sculpt, it's one of my favorite things now. And yeah, I can keep on going on, but I do have a love-hate relationship with Worbla, but I do have a whole roll
Yeah, you gotta use
in my
it.
house. Yeah. So,
So that's a good one. I think I hate velvet.
You don't.
It gets freaking
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's jammed.
Yeah, I did a pirate power girl and I made a velvet like coat thing. I still have velvet in my machine. No matter how many times.
These two right here? Oh my
Yeah, fur everywhere.
Actually, there's a technique to working with fake fur I've learned.
Oh,
You
nice.
gotta brush it.
Oh, roll the fur.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I actually have started really I like working with stretchy materials. The spandex and stuff, because I've made 2 or 3 Power Girl leotards now. And the first time I did it, I didn't even know what to do, you know? It stretches and you're like, but you want it to stretch, but you need the thread to stretch, and you don't want it to stretch too much, and I don't know, it's its own thing, but once you sort of get the hang of any material, it's a lot easier to work with, and so I just say, persistence, keep at it. Don't give up, people, don't give up.
I'd say my favorite material to work with is action spandex because I find it just to be the easiest. It's a lot of forgiving aspects to spandex. You didn't sew it right, whatever, but squish it and move it out, it's fine. But with spandex, you gotta kind of know some of the tricks to it, which when I didn't have a serger, I would double, triple stitch everything. I would do a straight stitch for the outside to make it look pretty, but then I'd double stitch it with the zigzag stitch so that if you pop a seam, that's okay, I got 2 more. Stuff I hate working with is leather. I absolutely hate it. I, of course, have 3 costumes made out of full leather because I'm a masochist like this, I guess, but oh god, I hate sewing leather. It's just so, it's a larger and heavy material that I'm not a huge fan of, and I will never use a thermoplastic like Worbla or Wonderflex ever again, because I've been burned by it. Because if you leave it in a hot car on a hot sunny day in California, guess what happens? You will not have a marine. You will have a warbly blob in your
Maybe
arm.
that's how they call it.
Yeah, horrible, horrible.
Like, it will.
Yeah, so those kind of,
So,
yeah, I told you horror stories about armor belts. I've done it in many different ways, so I don't know if you talk about that if you want, but I like spandex. Spandex is good. Spandex.
I definitely have to agree with the route of spandex. The vast majority of my costumes are spandex, and for me, I just find it to be very forgiving in terms of when you're making a costume, and it does hide imperfections in your scene.
and comfortable.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah. Now, the only thing, like, for me, it's difficult to work more with fabrics that do not stretch, because everything has to be more precise. I'm learning how to work through that.
Got the pattern.
It's difficult. But actually, now that you mention that, one thing that I do use for costumes that are non-stretch is I made a body dummy of myself using duct tape and a lot of like that.
the expanding inside.
Ooh, actually, that's a horror story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
it's a special
batting.
thing as well.
Yeah. batting's
So
nice.
I threw a lot of batting in there, and then what I do now is I wrap the entire thing in plastic wrap, and then put tape of a different color around the dummy, and then just draw out my pattern on top of that, cut it out, and then I have my pattern pieces put it back together. That's been working out
Yeah,
nicely.
that's a great way to
I love
do
it. Now stuff that, let's see, armor. I've done stuff with Worbla. So far it's been agreeable with me, but it does have its drawbacks. It definitely will warp in the heat. I did have an experience like that with my Dr. Doom mask where I left it in a warm car, and yeah.
Because Californians can't do that. We just cannot do that.
I left it in there, about 45 minutes, realized that it was in there, ran to the car, it's really hot, and don't do this, do
Oh,
not
yeah.
do this. I grabbed the mask and I put it onto my face to remold it. It wasn't as hot as you guys think it is.
Okay.
It was very warm.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's dedication right there.
Don't do it, I was just very desperate to make sure my mask wouldn't get jacked up.
Yeah.
It survived, it's fine, my face survived as well. Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds of materials you guys can use. And, you know, like Vampy mentioned the Sintra, you can use that. I actually have yet to use that material, but everyone keeps telling me that. Like, use that. Hmm?
You love Samus too. I used Sintra for the whole thing in Magic School. And it was amazing. I finished in like an hour and a half.
So,
Just a week.
if I was to make
Yeah.
a Samus and her Variety suit, would I be able to use Sintra for it?
Not all. You would use foam.
Okay.
Yeah, the best way, I think. I've seen the
Foam?
best, yes, Eva foam, for the whole armor suit, I've seen the best ones made out of foam.
Now, where can you find EVA foam?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
You can get it at, technically craft foam is EVA foam. If you go to Michael's and just get craft foam, that's what EVA foam is. You can go to Costco or Home Depot and get the floor mats. You can also buy it in rolls. I've never done it because the thicknesses you can get commercially are just fine. But you can buy it in different densities, different thicknesses, different lengths and widths. Sort of stuff.
How you like, pretty much what kind of glue you use is cement glue. It's in like that little metal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do not.
Yeah, rubber cement.
Bars, rubber
Mhm.
cement.
And that's how you
super glue.
like glue them together.
Don't use hot glue.
Yeah.
Because hot glue will start to melt. If you don't have
Mhm.
quality hot glue, it'll melt between 100 and 110
Yeah.
degrees. It won't get like liquid, but your foam armor will come apart
Yes.
from experience. I have so many horror stories. I tried it all.
See, now I make all my armor out of leather.
I like that. I hate sewing leather. I should say that. I don't. I'm sure if I didn't have to sew it, I'd be fine with it. I'd have to pay for a machine.
I
I'm
like
not
sewing
happy.
with leather because, I mean, it's unforgiving, don't
No.
get me wrong. Once you put that needle through it, you
Yeah, it doesn't
you gotta
self-heal.
go with it. But I just,
Wearing a
I
ton of
feel
leather.
like it's easy because it doesn't move around. Like,
It's true. It will not scoop.
it doesn't scoot. I hate fabrics
But
that
I don't know, trying to do curves, I made a corset out of it, so trying to get the curves and do top stitching, trying to get it in there underneath the machine, oh, it was an awful, awful day.
But now, if you're using, like, if you're making armor,
Mhm.
you can use a thicker gauge
You
leather and then rivet them together.
Yeah, riveting, I think I can get along with leather a lot more if I decided to rivet
Yeah.
things.
See, and that's what I do. So if you're gonna use an armor with a heavier, you wanna go with a heavier grade armor or leather,
Yeah.
and then rivet it together, and then you don't have to worry about glue.
Have you ever
I'm like a.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I wanna hear you talk about it.
Okay, so,
I wanna learn about wet molding leather.
so when you, especially when you wet mold leather,
Professional. Did you feel it?
I didn't.
That's right here.
I don't
Come
know.
on, just take
So
it.
when you, oh no, we lost them
Oh,
all.
wow, we lost them all. All right, let's speak loud.
So when you wet mold leather, you want to use a little bit of warm water, and I'm going to say specifically warm water, like a lukewarm water, because the heat will change the quality of the leather a little bit. It makes it a little bit harder too. And then you just keep working it, just if you've got a body form that you're
Okay.
working on, just like keep smoothing it over those
You have a solid
curves.
buck, you just keep going.
Yeah, totally. Just keep it's a good workout.
Just keep at it, everyone.
But I'll tell you what, if you put it in hot water, hot to boiling water, that leather changes texture.
Mhm.
It'll shrink. It'll get hard. It turns like plastic.
Oh,
And
which
it's-
could be good if you're ready for it.
That's actually how you make leather
Yeah.
armor.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
That's actually how you make leather armor. You boil the
Yes,
leather,
uh-huh.
it thickens up, and
Yeah.
How quick do you have to mold it after you boil it?
pretty quick.
Yeah, you gotta be ready to go and get at it.
And
If
that's
you
why-
put it in the boil, you're literally supposed to take it off, put it on the form,
Okay, and you're done.
and push it in place and hold it there and let it cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to
And
know.
that's why if you just go.
And if you're gonna sew it, then instead of using,
Oh, I don't think I would dare sew it after wet molding.
well, no, you don't push it in with your hand.
Uh-huh.
You get a
Oh.
big leather needle
Oh, yeah, you poke the hole and
and
then
a pair
you,
of pliers,
oh, okay.
and you use the pliers to
Take
push
it
it
through.
through.
Oh, wow.
But honestly, I would recommend sewing it before you do that.
But what about the shrinkage?
Well, is yeah.
You gotta be
But
ready for
that's
that, you're
what-
patterning.
Yeah, but that's why when you put it on a bus,
Uh-huh.
or when I did my Mad Max,
Uh-huh.
that's all leather, I literally wore that around until it dried,
Oh, there you go.
you know?
No, I can see it working.
Yeah.
It's like wordless to your face, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's hot, you'll be
And
fine.
I was so cold, it was like, ah!
It's true. Apparently, it's now the leather workers fail.
Yeah, right?
Okay,
No, so I like leather.
Oh, well, that's good tips. I like those tips. See, I'm learning too.
Now, as far as wigs go and using contacts, things that will alter your appearance to be, can you guys hear me in the back? Okay, how's this? Better? Okay. So as far as,
That's nice.
Right.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So as far as wearing, let's say, wigs, hello?
Well, that was fast. You don't have to touch it anymore, I guess.
Seriously, don't.
It's happening in all the rooms, I've noticed.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So if you wanted to wear wigs, wear contacts, things that will alter your appearance so you can resemble that character a little bit more closely, are there any type of wig styling techniques that you guys would recommend or companies that you use for your wigs and contacts?
eBay. I go on eBay for my wigs.
eBay, me too.
I couldn't even tell you the brands because it's a roll of the dice.
Really, I think especially for wigs, I highly recommend if you're not gonna do real hair, because those are fabulous, but super expensive.
Yeah, I've never done one of those.
It's a high heat temperature fabric called like Canalon, I can't say.
Yeah, it's something with a K.
Kion. But you're pretty safe buying almost any wig from China or Japan.
Yeah.
It's true, because that's all they use.
That's
over
all
there,
mine
because they're
come from.
huge in a cosplay, and that's the only thing they use. And you can curl them. It's like it's not terribly hot. It's like 120 degrees or something like that.
It's
So-
almost boiling water.
Yeah.
That's what I use to straighten or curl my
Yes,
heads.
exactly. And that way you can set your curls, you can straighten them. If you have one that's not a heat temperature, wash them like you're gonna wash it. Put it on a head comb, and you can put rollers in it, like Velcro rollers, and let it sit. That works too. Not as well, but it does work.
Yeah, I get my lace fronts, when I get lace fronts on eBay, and you can also ventilate wigs if you need the shape to change in front. You can buy lace on Amazon, just you stitch it in, and then you get this funny little hook needle, and then you just kind of weave hair forever. And it's not particularly difficult. It's not a super hard thing to do. It's just very time consuming and very meticulous. You have to be ready to take one hair at a time and just do this looping technique through all the lace, but you can get great widow's peaks out of it, and I've done that with some of my wigs.
I have like, so I don't know. What I usually search for the most natural wigs, if you were to go on eBay right now, what I usually would do is search Korean wig. It sounds funny as hell, but literally, you will find the cheapest wigs that look
Like literally, like real. My mom, yeah, Korean wig. Just search Korean wig and you will find everything like for $15 and it looks real. It's crazy. Because my friend's like, hey, those Korean, K-pop stars, you guys are into K-pop? Okay, some people. But I was like, how do they keep on changing their hairstyle? They're like, no, it's the Korean wigs they wear.
I thought they were just that cool.
They could be, I don't know, but it looks so natural and
My world is disillusioned now.
yeah, I agree with them. eBay is probably the best, and literally you can find some on Amazon if you're really in need for one, like I
I
guess
guess some on Amazon.
yeah, 2 or 3 days or something with Prime. And my favorite contacts, I wear contacts for every costume because I'm Asian, I have dark eyes, so I have to change my eyes all the time. Yes, we don't have blue eyes. Okay, but so I go on honeycolor.com. It's my favorite website. It's the best website, I think, and they're pretty fast with their shipping.
I don't really wear contacts, so.
And
I have no help.
And I get a lot of contacts from honeycolor.com too, but I've recently just discovered eyesbright.com. Oh my gosh,
The ones I'm gonna wear tomorrow, they're from Eyesbright.
they are super comfy. And I don't get any prescription, you can buy them Plano. And they're pretty fast shipping too, even though they're coming from the UK.
Yeah.
For me, I'm usually one of those last minute people, so I get my contacts at the convention booth at the current con that I'm at. I feel you. Yeah. Like, oh, I forgot my blue contacts. All right, let's see which booth has them. Ah, you got them. That's what I will wear tomorrow. I will be out of luck the day that I need to get scleras or something.
I need them too, but it ain't gonna happen.
Scleras are the ones that cover your entire eye. I've yet to try those, so I can't speak on those.
Yeah, if you find Holly Conrad, a Proud Cat, she has scleras in today. She's not happy, she says it's like bees in your eyes. So if you're wondering what it felt like, it's like
So good luck with that.
And as far as wigs go, as far as wigs go, I usually use Epic Cosplay. I just started trying some stuff out from Arta Wigs. Aside from that, I haven't really tried eBay as of yet, only because I'm scared. And,
All of mine are from eBay. All of them.
Ask us.
Don't be scared.
My pink Cersei wig came from eBay and it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thick and gorgeous.
It's not like you don't know how to get a hold of us.
Yeah, right.
Vampy Whitney has all the links.
I'm psycho. I have not slept yet. I was like searching everything, so if you guys need help, tweet us.
Yeah, wigs, I mean, all of these things are really, really cool things to, take your cosplay to the next level in terms of wanting to more identify with that particular character. Now, what are some malfunctions that you guys may have had that we should all be wary about, starting with Bambi?
Yeah.
Can we narrow it down? What kind of need to do?
One, you
Okay,
get one.
it's talking about.
Did you touch it?
So, I made my phone.
Yeah, they're down again.
Okay, so malfunctions. My wigs always, do you guys often have your wigs falling off your head?
Yes.
Sometimes I hate that. So the thing is, what I usually do
with my wigs is that I sew in those clips, and I sew in about 4, and then they haven't fallen down since. Even if I wove in 4 wigs together, it's pretty amazing. It stays on your head, but it kind of hurts after a while. I always suggest using a wig cap. Some people don't use it, and I think they're magical people, because seriously, I have to wear one because my hair is so dark, obviously. And,
Well, and I really think that the more hair you have, for sure, if you've got long hair at all, you should be wearing a wing hat, you know, braid it, put it up, and it
Yes.
helps to tuck everything in place.
I think braiding is the best way.
Yeah, I French braid my hair.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm putting it in. But I only wear a wig cap when it's blonde wig. I don't know, kind of crazy.
See,
And,
I just shaved my head.
Oh, there we go.
What?
She's hardcore.
oh yeah, she does. Oh, hold on. Yeah.
It's so much better, let me tell you.
You look good. I look crazy. No. Nope. Nope. I look
That's what they
crazy.
make wigs for.
So the gray
I
wigs.
can't.
Right,
So,
right,
creative wigs, yeah. Oh no, this is gonna be the thing that sticks with me now. Okay.
Gray wigs.
So, the other thing, I know, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. And another thing,
Aw.
I didn't touch that.
You did it, it's, alright, it's not you.
It's my fault now. So another thing I strongly recommend for people that wear wings, you know, do you guys like wear wings, like if you cosplay like Lilith, Morgan, or any of those things? I strongly suggest getting, what's that, plastic, plexiglass? Yeah, plexi, right? I make most of my armatures out of that and elastic. So for my Morgan, I used plexiglass or whatever, and then elastic over, and industrial strength Velcro. So then that became like the armature I used for the wings. So it looks like it's organic coming out of your back instead of like it tight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a little bit, not natural, I guess. And yeah, I think building armatures are very important for any costumes for it to stay on. Yeah.
Once you're on the con floor, the easier everything is, the less you have to worry about. Truly the better, and the more fun you're gonna have, I think, too.
Who's got that question?
Oh, yes, props.
Who's got questions?
So, oh, we will be moving into the Q&A session in just a little bit.
You're the one who brought it up. I just brought mine.
So I wanted to talk about props because a lot of people are afraid of props. This looks really fancy, but it's not. But it does light up. I'm very excited about that. So this is blue house insulation foam that I shaped on a sander. You cut, you shaped on a sander, and then it's literally glued together. It's got liquid plastic, is painted over it for some rigidity, and then spray painted. This awesome little light doohickey was like, I don't know, a magic wand from a dollar store. I'm not even joking. You know,
Magical things at the dollar store.
you
So many
totally
money things.
don't discount anything
Yeah,
because
dollar
you
stores
can
are stop
find,
number one.
yeah, and thrift stores, my favorite places ever. But so when you're looking at props and stuff, don't think you've got to make everything from scratch. 'Cause
Props
you
are
don't.
great for found items. You can
Yeah.
really reappropriate a lot of different things to become props with, and lights are not that hard. Put a flashlight in a sword and then you have a lighter sword, build
Yeah.
it up and around it.
Mhm.
You can get acrylic and you can glue it together with so many different kinds of glues that will not fog it up. And there's so many methods. We did a whole panel on that earlier today.
I love Nerf guns.
Nerf guns are great to
Yeah,
paint
yeah,
and
yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah, totally.
They make awesome guns for futuristic stuff, steampunk. You
Yeah.
can do a lot with those.
Yes.
Nerf punk is a thing.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
People dress up in Nerf colors.
I know, I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
what
this
is
is the whole
that?
vibe.
So what about, so
Yeah,
I
it's
know
like
what I do
steampunk
with all my
color.
Nerf guns now.
Well, it's like steampunk with Nerf, so you kind of take the steampunk aesthetic with Nerf colors and just kind of
neon.
go.
Interesting. I'm
Yeah.
gonna Google that.
Oh,
me
Google it.
too.
There's plenty of people who do it.
So
Because a
awesome.
lot of steampunkers use Nerf guns to create theirs, and they just
I know, right? I'm
didn't
gonna
change
make
the colors.
Nerf punk power girl.
Yeah. Neon orange everywhere.
But, I mean, there's a lot of different materials you can use for like props, costuming. When you start going to Harbor Freight or Home Depot's, Lowe's, you'll start looking at just the strangest of things and saying, you know what? I could make this with that.
And
And
be creative.
yes,
Yeah, there's no limit.
Cardboard's your friend. Oh my god.
Spray paint is your friend.
Yeah, cardboard.
and you want to hear
composites.
Pepakura?
Oh, yeah, peppercorn.
Pepakura? No. Okay, Pepakura is,
Origami ever.
yes,
Right?
origami on steroids. It's this paper folding
Stuff.
thing. And it's absolutely insane. You know, you can make armor. A lot of people do like the full-on Iron Man suits out of that, and will go ahead and fiberglass it, paint it, and you would never tell. You could never tell there's paper underneath of that
In the base.
as the base.
A lot of people actually use the EVA foam with the PEP
Mm.
files. So if you want something that is still soft, light, easy to wear, and you know how to work PEP, crunch PEP files, but instead of cutting them out in the cardstock, cut them out in EVA foam, and then glue it together, plasti dip it, Krylon paint it, or just seal it with a PVA glue if you got time. That is a great way to use PEP, but still have, not do into fiberglass or resin if you're not ready for those sorts of materials. Go to Harbor Freight and pick up the floor mats.
Now, for anyone that's wanting to start into, you know, doing cosplay, is there anything that you guys would suggest or recommend that they do?
Do not do, there it goes.
Yeah, there it goes.
That's not my fault.
And then,
Is there anything you guys would want to suggest that they do or do not do? And one question for me is, do you guys, are you guys able to use the restroom while you're in costume all day?
today I can.
I just did.
It's not very often. It takes a while.
Yeah, I was pretty quick, but.
I will say, when you're starting out, don't be afraid to do found objects. Go to the thrift store,
Yeah.
find a dress that is the right shape, find pants
the
that
right
are the right
color.
shape. And you can either cut it out of
Yeah.
your materials, use it as a pattern, learn how to sew from these things, or you can try dyeing it. Add things on top of it, top stitch it, glue it. Don't be afraid to start there, because that's, I think, how most of us did start. And we've all evolved from it, learning in through all these experiences with these thrift store found objects, found
And
props.
sharing ideas with everybody. I think that's one of my favorite things about
Internet's full of
cosplay.
it.
Right? Is sharing ideas with people. Hey, I've got, God, how many times have I called Ivy up, hey, I want to do this thing, but I don't even know where to start. And I was like, hey, what about this, you know? Ah, you know, and it'll lead you down.
Learn from other people.
Yeah, you know, or I want to
What you're
work
wrong.
with EVA foam and I don't know how, you know, what do I do?
Give me a call.
Call Kit, you know.
Tell me about
I don't know where to find the right wig.
Penny wins the battle.
No, I think you should just start with something you like. You know, find a genre you like, or a character, or a show, or a movie.
You're gonna need that passion to make it through. You're gonna
Yeah,
need that drive.
especially in the beginning, you know, because then you can
Hard.
go, check this out. I love this character, and now I am this character. You know what I mean? And there's something that's very satisfying about that, and it's so addicting.
I just think that like in the beginning, or even now, I mean, all of us here are always learning. We're always a student, right? So I think that it's really intimidating when you see a person online and they're like, I don't know if you guys heard of Clive Lee. He's like a god to me because he does Gundam cosplay. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can be him. But then it's great because he's willing to share how he made everything. Have you guys heard of him? If you guys are into armor making or making like really huge Gundam kind of cosplays, look up Clive Lee. He has a how-to on RPF, on the RPF, if you guys are on there.
The replica prop.
Yeah,
for
it's
those who don't know.
amazing. He goes down to the, like, how to make the shoes and like the platform shoes. He's crazy. So I think that don't be intimidated because I think that people who really love to cosplay and like make things, they're very willing to, I mean, I'm very willing. We're all very
Most
willing
of the
to
time,
help.
it's a very open community.
Yes.
We love knowing what we're doing and sharing that and seeing how you can do with it.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask anybody, like, you know, and if they're not willing to share, maybe they're not.
Because maybe they're not that cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not that person anyway, so put it out there. Not that
Yeah.
cool.
I would definitely recommend checking Google and YouTube
Mhm.
for resources. You know, chances are if someone's made, you know, a Master Chief armor
Yeah.
and they've put it all on YouTube or on Google,
It is on YouTube, I've seen it.
and you
4 or
can,
5.
you can always apply those methods or techniques to something else. You know, you'll always be able to apply that and use it for something else and make something completely different. You know, don't be afraid to ask, like they were saying, people in the community for help or suggestions on things because the vast majority are willing to help you out. And for me personally, one thing I always like to let everybody know at any panel I'm in is, you know, if it's something you're afraid of doing, if you're afraid of cosplaying and, you know, you're afraid if someone's gonna say anything negative to you about what you're doing, or they're gonna make fun of you, or call your names, or you feel you're the wrong body type, or the wrong skin color, whatever, ignore that. You know, you're doing it for you, do it because you enjoy it and you have fun. At the end of the day, if you're happy with yourself and you had fun, then that's all that matters. People will have negative opinions about things, and, you know, just don't let that affect you to the point where they're now ruling your life.
Those people aren't that cool anyway.
No.
Don't worry about it.
You know,
They're not that cool.
I'm the judge of cool.
I'm not the queen of cool here. Captain Cool. I am Captain
That's
Cool.
not cool.
She's cool.
There's us zap everybody.
Yeah.
So at this point, we'd like to see if any of you have questions. We like questions. Yes.
Yes, I was wondering, you touched on this briefly earlier, but I was wondering if you could, I know you've got at least one such story you could share about wardrobe malfunctions, particularly the last minute time and how you work through them using duct tape, safety pins, whatever means you may find available.
I would definitely recommend that you have an emergency kit because of this. A cosplay emergency kit usually has safety pins, Velcro, a hot glue gun, this glue called E6000, which is amazing. Smells really, really bad. And if you get it on your hands and you
Just
go
don't.
through TSA,
Yeah, you won't make it.
No.
You actually won't make
you'll
it.
test positive
Yeah, for real.
some stuff. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
I've had people not make it on the flight with me before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else would you
Needle
use?
and thread, needle and thread.
Yes.
Duct tape. I saved 2 people's tuckuses today with my emergency kit. I had crazy glue, saved one girl, her headband thingy broke, and Joker's Harley had a bell fall off, but I had needle and thread,
I
pop
knew
that
it.
sucker back on. Yeah. So I'm stocked. But duct tape, have duct tape, because this costume, I can tell you horror stories off this one. Sometimes snaps don't want to stay attached to EVA foam. Sometimes they just fall off. So have gaff tape or duct tape available. Gaff tape is just a fancy film tape that they serve the same purpose. Just comes in more colors.
I'd say to avoid, for the ladies, certain wardrobe malfunctions, definitely have pasties. It
Double-sided
can
tape.
save you, double-sided
Double-sided
tape
tape.
or 2K tape.
Yes, and then.
2K tape. That sounds awesome.
For the men
Yeah, it
that are interested in cosplaying, dance belts. Yes, just Google it.
Yeah.
It'll do wonders. And as far as wardrobe malfunctions, I had one last year, actually, at Big Well. Luckily, it happened as I was walking back into my hotel room. I was working on a Red Sonja costume for Frank Cho's panel, and I had already had a few setbacks on that costume that day, so I was running late. And the way Frank Cho draws his Sonja is in a manner in which I like to call this pancake boob. It's where the fabric is squishing and like the whole boob on the outside showing. So you got side boob, under boob, cleavage boob. It's, yeah. So I try to mimic that without testing out the costume in advance. Yeah. you don't
That's
do
never
that.
a good idea,
No,
by the way.
especially with something like that. So, you know, I had a few issues with it, and I was like, okay, I think it's gonna stay put. Go to the panel, do the panel. I'm getting really nervous, and I'm literally sweating up there, holding this axe as Red Sonja, and I'm like, oh God, please, this can't happen in a room full of people. It's not gonna be good for me.
Cameras, everything.
And, you know, the panel's over, and I'm just booking it back to the hotel room. And literally, card goes in for the reader for the door, doors open, and there goes the thing, the centerpiece for the bra.
Oh.
Yeah, just as the door was opening. So I lucked out. That could have been on the floor, and I would have probably never shown my face again. I wouldn't be here this year.
Never had that.
No, me neither.
But
That may take the cake, I think.
yeah,
I know, I've worked with
that's
dairy
the
ones.
extent of any malfunctions in terms of that. I mean, I have
costuming horror stories from doing things that are trial and error, guys.
Yeah, it's all about trial and error.
Have you
I'd
guys had
stick
any
with
horror
it.
stories?
I haven't had anything too bad happen on the floor. I've had things break, or I've forgotten pieces, which
Oh.
really suck in the moment, but
That's the worst.
the tatas have always stayed in the costume.
Yeah,
Through Molotov cocktails, through Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, they've stayed in. Good job, girls.
Mine, my wigs always fall off, because sometimes I wear huge wigs, and I end up being bald by the time I get to where I'm supposed to be, and I'm like, okay, you know, if I'm wearing Felicia and it's a four wig thing, and I have to, it's heavy. I'm not gonna pretend like it's not heavy, so I didn't sew any front thingies or whatever, and it just fell off, and I was just like, I'm here, and I'm at Capcom, and just like, okay, and everyone's just looking at me, I'm like, oh, no wonder it felt amazing. It was like way in the back, in the front, or wherever, in San Diego Comic-Con, I was just like, okay, that's not fair. But yeah, that's probably the only thing that really happened to me that was bad, having my wigs fall off all the time. That's why I'm not wearing one today. Okay.
Oh, I had a back seam split on me at Cosplay Con for a Spider-Woman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I had that happen. Then we just pulled out a needle and thread from my emergency kit, and we stitched that up and kept moving.
I think for me,
Nobody knew.
probably the worst thing I ever did was forget a costume piece.
Oh, I forgot my gloves for Spider-Woman too.
Oh, I went to San Diego Comic-Con one year, I didn't have my Power Girl boots.
Oh, yeah, there's no
Power Girl
around
didn't make
that.
it to San Diego that year.
Yeah.
And I went to every place I could think of that morning. I showed up at the con like 4 hours late, just trying to find something that would work.
Boots
And,
that would
yeah.
are blue.
Yeah, seriously, it didn't
Flip-flops,
happen.
anything?
So now I have a checklist, that's another good thing. Have
Yeah.
a costume checklist. I still forget things, but that was definitely the worst.
Ooh, Tide stain sticks.
Those are good.
I was wearing Power Girl earlier this year, and, oh, no, I was debuting her. Yikes. I was debuting her at a con, and a friend handed me a bunch of Sharpies that I needed for signing, and I hadn't put my costume on. I was walking around the floor and had all of my costume pieces with me. And he gives me the Sharpies, and one of the Sharpies was bleeding, and then so happened to get it all on the very front of Power Girl. Well, I panicked because I only brought 3 costumes. I would suggest guys always bring a backup just in case something, you have a mishap that you cannot fix on one costume. Always bring a backup just in case. I did not. So I panicked, and I mean, how do you get Sharpie off of white? And a friend handed me a stain stick. They're like, I don't know if it'll work, you know, just try it. About an hour and a half of working the stain stick through. No more Sharpie on the white.
Gotta get to it quick.
Yeah, right away.
But yeah, those 2 have been about the worst I've had.
Yeah, there's a question here, the blonde here. Yeah, right
I
there.
was just gonna say, in relation to what you were talking about, the necessity of handlers is really great, because I've had some costumes I've had have been non-handler, but most of my costumes have been definitely, you have to have another person, because you're either totally covered, particularly if this is all covered, or you have a wig and a hat combination or something, or you have body paint covering your whole body.
Especially your
This
hands.
is like an exhaustion and dehydration danger, and you may not notice how hard it is to wear the costume until the middle of the day when you're all by yourself. And it's like, I'm just saying, have a person that's like your designated go-to person that's either gonna be with you the whole time or is gonna meet you, and is able to make sure that you're okay and make sure that you can carry your water for you. You know, we don't have anywhere on your person to carry stuff. That's also the carrying stuff person.
I like to call her
Thing to
mom.
have.
Yeah, Mom. There she is.
My mom is here too.
They're our biggest fans. My mom brought me a PBJ today to make sure I got one. Thanks, Mom.
If you don't have mom, have somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, what she said is absolutely right. You do want to make sure that you are hydrated, because you can easily forget to eat or drink anything while you're walking around or taking photos. Because if you're in costume,
face it, you are gonna get asked to take photos, you know, so just make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. I am personally guilty of this, and I do not stay hydrated while I'm at a show, only because the whole restroom issue is a massive
You
pain
don't
for most
eat.
of my costumes.
You don't drink because it's really hard sometimes to get in and out of it. You know, especially if you don't have somebody with you that can
Yes,
help.
you forget, you
Yeah,
really
and you
do.
forget, you're having a good time, you're like, yeah, let's take some pictures, let's be awesome, and then you just forget all of it. And then by the end of the day, you're like ready to pass out, you can't figure out why. Well, I didn't eat anything, I didn't drink anything,
really
and I
bumping
didn't use the restroom, you know?
Right about masquerade time, that's when you pass out.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
me, how I know.
yeah.
And then the handler thing was actually an excellent point, as, you know, if you do have a very involved costume, like, or for example, like your wings for Morrigan, you know, you may not be aware of how far,
Yeah, good point.
you know, you,
How much space you take.
yes, how much space you take up.
Yeah.
You can't bump into people, or, you know, you can't see certain parts of your costume. With my Dr. Doom, it is very restricted on my movement, so for that one, I almost always require a handler, or I just
Yeah,
forego
you
wearing
can't
the
bend
armor
it.
pieces. So, you know, definitely have somebody there that's going to be spotting you.
And honestly, for girls and guys, but for me, I understand, but having somebody that can look at you and go, okay, everything's in place, you're not showing
Yes.
anything funny, and, you know, making sure you look awesome in your pictures, that's really
Keep
good.
an eye
I'll
out for
step on
pop
that
scenes or whatever.
Yeah,
that may not be
exactly,
visible.
you know, I'll just, you know, or just have another girlfriend or guy friend with you go, hey, I just,
Maybe
fix your top a little bit, you know, or whatever. Yeah, it's really
You got
nice.
lipstick on your teeth.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and I recommend, if you can, go with a group of people. Have a cosplay buddy. Because not only do you have somebody looking out for you, it's more fun. You got somebody to share that excitement with, you know? And then you'll have memories. You go home and go, hey, remember that time we did that thing? It was awesome. Yeah.
Memories are awesome, we recommend them.
Do you have any tips for dealing with heat, like Comic-Con, or there's dance parties and there's a race tomorrow, Data Breaker costume. Do you have any tips for dealing with like heat?
Yeah.
For cold wash rags is something that I've used in Atlanta for DragonCon. Especially if you have big, if you have a wig, you can stick cold wash rags inside your wig if you have enough room, or just towels. Leave them in the freezer overnight if you have access to that, or in the ice bucket. Put them in your wig when you go out and kind of swap them out, or inside your armor, and then.
You know those, the
ice packs.
ice packs, like you put in your lunchbox?
Yeah.
Those things are great because you can strap them to your body and keep you cool.
Done that.
Hydrating is really important when you're hot.
I would say definitely stick to parts of the venue that aren't as packed. If it's something, you know, like some people will get, it's not claustrophobic as much as like they, yeah. like-
Agoraphobic.
Too many people.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Fear of crowds.
So, you know, in terms of heat, you know, large quantities of people are going to generate lots of heat when you're in a congested area like that. So, you know, for example, San Diego Comic-Con, there's a lot of hallways that have open space, which will allow you to, yeah, just stay cool that way.
And something else, know your limits. Don't think you have to wear this bitching costume all day. You know, you put it on and 2 hours in, you're like, I don't think I'm having fun anymore, I'm hot, I'm tired. Take it off, because I'll tell you what, those 2 hours that you got in that costume, being awesome, are gonna be better than if you had tried to wear it all day and been miserable.
In some armor costumes, you can actually fit in little fans and air conditioning type units. Computer fans, you can get those in the helmets. I've seen guys do that. I will never do that because I know my hair will get caught in it. I don't even want to ever dance that dance.
Like your head
Yeah,
fit.
I'll just shave it. But I know a lot of guys, they do put little